Well, hello. We currently have December 30th, and I have decided to try and see how much I can get done in terms of writing by the end of this year, and maybe do some New Year reflections on how this year went and what I expect of the next year. So maybe it's not the brightest idea to be starting this at 8 p.m., but here we are. I don't even know what I am attempting here. Basically, mostly I want to finish writing chapter 8, which has the chunk in the middle, but it doesn't have a beginning and it doesn't have an end. And then there is chapter 9 that is missing, and a good chunk of chapter 10 that needs a resolution. Well, also beginning. But I don't think I can get all of that done in a day and a half. So let's keep it realistic and just stick to chapter 8 for now. I really don't want to pressure myself too much in this holiday state that we are in, as you can see behind me. So, hoping to just spend some time on the writing and see how that goes. Before I dive into writing, I have these two bags of books to sort through and see what I actually like and want to keep. These are, part of them are from the old apartment we had and from the previous owners, and part of them are from Grandpa, and all of them have been stored in Grandpa's old room, which we have cleaned out. So now I have this to look at. So yeah, I want to see what hides in there and what is actually interesting enough to keep. Well, the second bag is sorted as well. We have more interesting stuff, like some books for children, and this one has apparently been given to my mother in 4th grade for having good grades and something by her teacher. As for what I pulled out to read, we have the classics. We have at least 3 Jane Eyres for some reason, so why not? This scares me, but we will see. These two old ones, because I don't know, they speak to me. This book belonging to my mother. It looks scary for some reason, like inappropriate, but we will see. And some non-fiction, because this looks like it could be useful for writing. This is about psychology, so why not? Looks interesting. And these two seem to be great about history of my country, so yeah, that's my reading list. We will see how many I get to. I'm not planning to read actually all of this, that's just the picks. And I'm hoping to filter in at least some of them into 2026, but of course, this is a little too much. Okay, the writing today is really not happening. I only wrote this, and that's all. And just getting distracted as crazy. So instead, I turned my attention to my journal and did some notes about chapter 8 and how Peter's room actually looks like, because having a schematic is greatly helpful when it comes to describing things, and I already don't like describing things. So this is from yesterday in the bookstore. So I'm actually getting more into like doing drafting diaries and summarizing my thoughts after I'm either done writing or during writing, and it's, I don't know, I cannot say it's helpful because I have not been doing it for long enough, but it's certainly interesting. And now I think I am going to read. I wanted to do some art because writing is not working, or some actual like end of the year journaling, ignore this, or like set up my bullet journal for next year, but I don't know, my mind is elsewhere, so book it is. This morning has begun with some journal setting up, specifically for the reading part. Like here we have the library set up for all the books I will read, some statistics, the TBR and what I currently own, and things like that. I still need to set up the writing portion of the journal, but I am really happy with how the reading one is turning out. Here will be a series tracker because I have too many series I am in the middle of. Honestly, this year has been crazy in terms of reading because I have read 40 books and I have not read that since elementary school, so hoping to repeat that this year, and that's why this spread has 50 books. And no, I don't expect to finish all of them, but one can hope. Hello and welcome to 2026. So yesterday, the last day of the year, I did not manage to write despite wanting to, because of everything that was going on. But now and this morning, I have finished setting up my journal for this year, so why not make a little bit of a flip through? I won't talk too much in depth because I have already covered some in the previous clip, but I thought it could be interesting, so let's dive in. We have a nameplate in an Art Deco style, then a year page, this themes and goals. It is a combination of Art Nouveau decorations and writing with the Year of the Horse imagery. So that's pretty straightforward. Here we have some exciting things and some keeping track of important things like changing and cleaning and watering plants. Now here we have the yearly big trackers of which day I did what. Pretty straightforward. I have had more in-depth ones for writing previous years, but I end up not filling them out as much as I want, so now the social media tracker. This is a new thing. I wanted to try it because, like, why not? Reading statistics and TBR. I really like the lettering on this page. More about reading. So here we have the books tracker, and this is a series tracker, and I have realized I have far too many series I have started and did not finish. Monthly favorite books. This is about my writing project, and I will speak more about what I'm planning to do with writing this year a little bit later. Photo of the month. Hopefully I will get to more printing of photos because I have wanted to dive into that a little more. Fitness stuff. And here we go. That was the end of the yearly spreads, and now we go into quarter one. I have decided to go even more into like quarterly planning, so divide the year into 13-week quarters instead of, and plan things out that way. I find it simpler than doing all of this every single month because that's a little too much. So I really love the look of this page. Tried something new. Here we have some school stuff you don't need to really see, but I like the look of it. My classical writing tracker. I really love how this spread turns out when it's finished. Wait, here we go. It looks like this when it's done, and it's like really great and useful. And lastly, we have a reading tracker and a content planner. And so that is it for now for my journal setup. I have already used quite a lot of pages with just the setup, so I like the look of this. Let's see if I can keep up with using it, because that is usually a bit of an issue. Welcome to the dog walk. I wanted to talk about the writing, and initially I wanted to go out and sit down somewhere with a pretty background and talk about it that way, but it's a little too cold for that, and so it is necessary to keep moving. So here we are. So, in terms of writing, the year 2025 was actually the best yet. I don't understand exactly what happened, but I have written 200,000 words when usually my maximum was somewhere between 50 and 70. So that's more than double. And I have basically smashed my writing goal of 70,000 in March. So that's insane. Other than that, I have finished my bachelor thesis, graduated, finished my book that took 3 years to get to this point, and also started Giraffe 2, written a fair amount of either short stories or like just scenes from somewhere. And so I would say great success. And also, when I look at the writing, I can clearly see how I have improved, and I am like really happy with how everything turned out. So that's 2025. A great success indeed. So what now? I have realized something, and that's kind of strange. Why the dogs are pulling me? What kind of creature is hidden in here? Seriously. Anyway, so I have realized that word count goals no longer work for me. And that is crazy coming from a person who loves statistics, numbers, and looking at things like that. So, what am I going to do? I am going to track because it's fun. But I will not be setting a big word count goal for the year, and I will not be setting word count goals for the months. I want to stick to like a baseline of 10k per month, but it's okay if that doesn't happen or if I go crazily above that. That would be actually great if I did in a month. And so, why do word count goals no longer work for me? Because I don't know how to set them anymore. I have either set them up in a way that they are too easy to catch up on, and then I have to artificially raise them just for the fun of it, or I underestimate how busy the month is going to be when it comes to the monthly goals and set it too high. Can you two move? Come on. So there is that. And so that's why I want to stick to simply like task goals, I would say. Like finish Act 1, finish Act 2, and things like that. Things that don't have a specific number on them. So, like, yes, I will be keeping track just for the fun of it and setting up the goal just for the fun of it. But the actual goal is going to be the finishing of Act 1 and finishing of Act 2. Hopefully Act 3, but I highly doubt that is going to happen. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on writing currently. And we have reached the river. So, what is this? Why is there still fireworks? Why? Insane. Anyway. The other point about goal setting that I have forgotten to mention is that they just not only not work, they no longer serve me because I have gotten to a point in my life where I can just write consistently enough that the output is good enough. And also, I have started writing fast enough that those bigger word counts are not as difficult to reach. I guess a solution would be to set higher goals, but I don't want to set that sort of pressure on myself, so better to abandon them completely. Like, I don't need to rely on a goal as a motivation to get me to write. And that's great. So, that is why I will no longer be using them. Well, the writing finally happened for today. At least 700 words of the first scene, with about half of it, which just proves how I am not really good at estimating word counts, because I thought that I would have this done in under 700 words, maximum 1000, but apparently not happening, so yeah. I wanted to write some more, but I'm just not feeling it, so I'm going to switch to reading, but I have set up my trackers for this year, and so yes, here is the stuff already filled in. We have the yearly tracker, the January tracker, and most importantly, the time tracker, which I have set for 2 hours every week. I may have to switch this, make one like this for word count as well, but we will see. And as I said, I have this set up just for the fun stuff of the statistics, because this number is just writing 10k every month, which is my kind of the baseline I want to keep, but it's not really a goal. So yeah, here we are, and everything is set. So we can progress on into the rest of this year. And behold, chapter 8 is finally done, and my cursed lineup has now shrunk to only 2 chapters, which means we are starting this year already with a win. And now I am heading back to bed, and so good night and goodbye.